a nonprofit theater arts organization called Michigan Stage, in collaboration with our friends at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, presents Theater for All initiative, which is a way to talk Broadway. And here to talk a little bit more about that specifically, we have the chair of Talking Broadway, Robin Kaufman. Thank you for joining us, Robin.
Hi, Kevin.
Thank you so much for being here, Robin. So we are dealing with this new initiative, Theater for All, at the West Bloomfield Township Library. Can you tell us a little bit more about this before we dig a little bit deeper?
Sure. It's a monthly program that's free for the public that we run at the West Bloomfield Library. We talk about a Broadway show each month, and it includes discussion of the musical, usually a musical. It talks about the backstory, the directors, the writers, the productions, as well as we have some entertainment, we have some singing. We usually have one or two or sometimes three professional singers who come to talk to us and sing for us about the show. We get all sorts of really interesting information from this amazing man named Tim Paray from the Michigan Stage.
Nice, nice. And you have been a part of this this event since the beginning, essentially. Can you just talk about what kind of prompted this and why choose West Bloomfield as the location?
So, as far back as I can remember, all my life, I've been passionate about two things: libraries and theater. And I'm the lucky girl who gets to combine them both, bring a program about theater that nobody's ever seen before to my favorite library in West Bloomfield. I've been a member of the Friends of the Library, a board member for as long as I've lived in West Bloomfield. And I've been a theater geek for as long as I've been alive. So it was a wonderful way to combine both of my wonderful passions and make something really good happen in our town.
Yes, I love when people can put their passions together, especially if they're two passions that may not seem to coordinate or be related to each other. Like you'll have someone say, I love to cook and I love to sing. And then someone say, how can you put those two together? And then next thing you know, they have a TV show where they're the singing cook on Fox or something like that. And so to find a way to combine those, as soon as you said that, I said, I love that. I love that because we all have different talents, different passions, and to put that together is a wonderful thing. So throughout this program, Theater for All, can you share some highlights, memorable moments from the program that you can remember that stood out?
Sure. So we've become monthly. Last year we couldn't quite make it gel. Last year was our first year, but we had some size restrictions because of issues at the library. But so this year we're going to be every third Sunday of every month. My favorite shows are being highlighted this year. Tim and I sat down and talked about what we wanted to see, and he was just taking notes for me from my just rambling. So last year we had the picture that you see on the screen right now is Tim on the right with Liz Lombard, our resident singer, on the left. And every month she comes and she sings something wonderful from whatever show we're highlighted. This Sunday, we're going to be talking about West Side Story, which is a perennial favorite. And I'm sure Liz and another special guest singer will have some wonderful entertainment for us, in addition to talking about the people behind it. Jerome Robbins was a famous choreographer and dancer, and he did West Side Story right from the inception. So I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about Jerome Robbins and West Side Story and its origins as from Romeo and Juliet, all that sort of stuff. My favorite moment from earlier this year, we talked about Hairspray, and we had a wonderful song, Good Morning Baltimore, from the show presented to us at the event.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of different aspects and things that you're talking about. I love that you're talking about, actual Broadway plays and kind of breaking them down, looking at them from a different perspective and things of that nature. Joining us now, by the way, to talk about the Talking Broadway Theater for All initiative at the West Bloomfield Township Library, we have Robin Kaufman, chair of Talking Broadway, talking about the Theater for All initiative. So as the chair of Talking Broadway from this, what do you feel or what do you want attendees who come to this event to essentially take away from it?
Well, of course, the love of theater. That's my top thing. And also getting to know a little bit about what happens behind the scenes. In the last 8 or 10 years, I've become a Broadway investor and producer, and I've learned so much about what goes on besides the actors on stage and what the public gets to see. And it's
Mhm.
kind of cool to get into that backstory and find out more about the production and how it came to be and
Mhm.
why and all of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
It's a really cool discussion.
Yes, yes. As someone, I like to look at things from a production standpoint. I'll watch a movie
Yeah,
and I'll watch for the continuity. They had lightning but they didn't have rain, or there's that's not realistic. I'll do things like that. So I have that. So to this type of event is for people like me who want to know a little bit more about the production, the analytics,
right,
the structure of things like that, the why, like you said
right.
also. So what are some common misconceptions or things people just don't generally know about Broadway, the preparation for Broadway in general, that you love to share?
Well, mounting a show on Broadway is a 10 to 30-year project. I've just invested
Oh.
in a program in a Broadway show called Harmony, which was written by Barry Manilow. He first discovered the story of these 6 young men. It's a true story of these 6 young men about 30 years ago, and it took him this long to get the show on Broadway. It just opened on Broadway last fall. And coincidentally, no, or maybe not so coincidentally, one of the lead stars was a young man who went to West Bloomfield High School, Danny
Mm.
Kornfeld. So because of all of that, and it's an extraordinary story, we became producers in it. So we've learned a whole lot about what goes on besides, like I said before, what goes on besides putting on a show and getting on the stage.
Absolutely. Wow, 30 years. Wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow. That is
yeah,
that is definitely one of those did you know moments right there. So
right,
great information.
exactly.
I could sit here and pick your brain about a million different things, Robin, but
I'd love that anytime.
right. But before maybe we'll have to invite you back. But before we go, can you just give any additional information? How can people become part of this Theater for All? How can they attend, or any
Mhm.
other things that you want to give and tell the community?
hmm well, we run on the third Sunday of every month. So this Sunday from 2 till 4 at the main library in the big meeting room. Tim Pere is an amazing asset to this community. He's the founder of Michigan Stage, and he's been working with us from its inception. And he's a font of knowledge about everything having to do with Broadway musicals. And he's got all sorts of connections. So we get all sorts of wonderful stuff that we wouldn't be able to get without Tim. So and like I said, we highlight a different show every month. So our March program, as I said, is West Side Story. In April, we'll be talking about Sweet Charity, May Hamilton, and then we take the summer off. September Cabaret, October Wicked, and November Jersey Boys. So
Mm.
those are some really hot, wonderful musicals with a lot of background and a lot of famous people involved that we have plenty to talk to them about or talk about with them. We've also on occasion had a Zoom meeting as part of our program
Mm.
um, with someone involved in either the original production or a current production of whatever the show is. And there's an incredible amount of insight talking to an actor who's waiting backstage to go on.
That is very, very insightful. And a lot of the
Yeah.
things that that you have coming up for the plays and the different months seem like they right align with the month or at least the time of the year. So that's so perfect. Thank you again, Robin Kaufman, chair of Talking Broadway, joining us talking about the Theater for All initiative at the West Bloomfield Township Library. Thank you again, Robin.
Thanks, Kevin.